Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation, and all I can say is shots have been fired today, and I'm referencing this oversight of the SEC's Division of Enforcement hearing that's had happened, and we're going to cover this and what the conversation's been like within the community. And Crypto Arity, I want to give her a shout out. She's almost at 100,000 subscribers. She had put a compilation, if you will, of the major key points in regards to what happened within this enforcement meeting. So we're going to watch her video here. But quickly coming over to CoinGecko, we're currently sitting at a $1.1 trillion market cap, currently at 5.8%. Coming down here, you can see Bitcoin sitting at 23,493. And I want to click in here to see what the 24-hour high was. 24-hour high, 23,654. So obviously we're seeing some good price action right now, especially the entire market being over $1 trillion market cap and being up 5.4%. Ethereum is sitting at 1562, so 1,562. Coming down here into XRP sitting at 37 cents. And this is quite interesting because you have some information that we're going to cover if you haven't seen it yet from the hearing that just happened, where shots were really fired at, Ripple and XRP, the XRP community in litigation that's happening in regards of XRP being considered so-called a security or having that security status in reference to the gentleman who spoke about it. But coming over here to the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, we're currently sitting at 30, which, as you can see, we're out of this extreme fear range, and we're sitting at 30. We're currently at 10 points from yesterday. It's going to have an update in about an hour and 8 minutes here. So I'm curious to see where this thing's going to go, if it's going to keep ticking up or we're going to have a nice little pullback back down into this extreme fear range. But this is pretty positive to see. I kind of take the small wins when we can, and just a matter of time for this market really completely starts to turn around and we start, going into, the upside and transition into this neutral greed, extreme greed range. And we get out of this bear cycle or bear market and go into a bull cycle and bull market. I want to cover these quick little updates from James K. Filan. It says Ripple defendants file letter at the Amici request to participate in the expert challenge. Ripple's letters indicates the SEC wants Amici XRP holders thrown out of the case entirely. Ripple opposes that effort. XRP Crypto says SEC knows they're losing by fighting XRP army and Ripple at the same time. I mean, absolutely. And that's kind of crazy. They're trying to get the XRP holders thrown out of the case entirely. It's like, if you're so-called set out to protect us, the investors, like, why is this a thing? Why are we, like, if you know what, Chairman Clayton and, the rest of his, you could say group and the rest of the SEC and the agency, like, if you know that you have Johnny Deaton, a class action lawsuit, Jason Foster, Empower Oversight, and all these other XRP decentralized community members coming together, bringing out all this information, showing you, how much detriment and how much hurt and pain that you've put upon these investors that you're so-called set out to protect. I mean, wouldn't you want to do everything in your power to try to make that wrong right? It is crazy, but it's like, no, they're literally trying to delay, suppress, and now they're trying to throw out the XRP holders entirely in the Amici. It's crazy, man. This is crazy. This is happening in the United States. Coming over here has another one. It says, breaking, the SEC is heavily redacted letter alleging threats against an expert, asks Judge Torres to revoke Amici status granted to XRP holders and to bar Johnny Deaton from any further participation in the case. This is just laughable, man. It's like they're literally just trying to get anything. I mean, any sort of leverage, any sort of win or power, even if it's, unethical, conflicts of interest. They know they're doing wrong. It's like they're just trying to do it. And it's like, all you're doing is making yourself look even worse because you're so-called sent out to protect us. But no, that's clearly not what you're trying to do. XRP Crypto says the SEC is lying. Nobody from the XRP community is threatening an SEC experts. So who knows? I mean, unless it comes out through some sort of investigation, no one's ever going to know who the threat was coming from. I mean, for all we know, it could be a Bitcoin maxi or some other hater of XRP and Ripple, or if it could be someone that was paid from, who knows, to start this negative FUD campaign. Who knows? It's I don't think it's ever going to be put out there, but it's kind of crazy that the SEC's taking this approach. It's crazy, man. Anyways, so before we transition into the video of all the clips that's what happened from that the hearing that I was just talking about earlier in the video, I wanted to cover what Stuart Alderati has to say. This is the general counsel for Ripple. So he's referencing the block. It says U.S. Representative Brad Sherman urges SEC to go after crypto exchanges that had traded in XRP. So we're going to cover the video clip so you can kind of get a visual of kind of what we're talking about here. But Stuart Alderati says, can I get a fact check on aisle 2, please? Representative Sherman, the U.S. has not, in fact, no country has determined XRP to be a security. When elected officials don't understand the mere filing of a case by the SEC doesn't determine anything. It's more than concerning. Only the court can make a determination. It's called due process. This is the pernicious effect of the SEC's regulations by enforcement approach, harming people, markets, and American innovation with unproven allegations as regulation. So check this out. This sentence is literally what I'm talking about. It's like, you're so-called there set out to protect, investors, but this is what you're doing. Your regulation by enforcement is harming people, markets, and American innovation. I mean, just that alone. That's literally what the SEC's. That should be literally their SEC. That should be like their tagline or whatever. It's like harming people, markets, and American innovations. SEC. XRP Crypto says Brad Sherman doesn't understand the concept of innocent until proven guilty. What a clown. So with that being said, we're going to transition into this video. It's about 8 minutes long, and this is just the highlights and important pieces within this this hearing that happened just today. So let's take a listen into this. I want to thank Crypto Eddie again for this.
Subcommittee will come to order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess subcommittee at any time. Without objection, members of the full committee, not members of the subcommittee, are authorized to participate in today's hearings.
Seems like some things are given a pass and some things are targeted. What's the criteria for targeting?
There's no selective prosecution. We have to balance the risk that we're seeing with the resources that we have, and we have a number of investigations.
Maybe the big ones take too many resources to go after, so you just say, well they'll get a pass?
No, I'm very proud of the work that the 1,300 women, men in my division do. They don't give people a pass. They hold violators accountable.
Okay, let me run a hypothetical scenario by you. Say an SEC official gives a speech at a conference, and the official begins, of course, by stating that, quote, their views are their own and not necessarily those of the commission. Anyone who's ever heard an SEC office official speak would know that this is standard, and they would not interpret the speech as legal guidance. However, let's say that the SEC official consulted SEC staff and perhaps even ethics directly to assist them in writing speech or giving guidance. Under this scenario, would the written speech still be considered personal views of the individual and not views of the commission?
Respectfully, I can't answer that right now because that hypothetical is a real scenario that's playing out in litigation.
Oh, what litigation would that be?
That would be the Ripple litigation.
Ripple XRP. So is it true that Director Hinman submitted his speech to ethics for approval?
Again, I can't comment on pending litigation.
Okay.
Has Chair Gensler ever directed you or, to your knowledge, asked any of your colleagues to make it a bloodbath for companies who don't respond to a sweep letter, which are voluntary?
No, that's not happening.
Interesting. We've become aware that Chair Gensler has in the past directed the Division of Enforcement to send a sweep letter to a particular sector of the crypto community designed to jam them into a violation that is allegedly unconstitutional. And if any company does not respond to said sweep letter, which I'll reiterate, as you've said several times, are supposed to be voluntary, then the SEC would make it a, quote, bloodbath for them. If true, I imagine such a tactic would significantly erode trust between the public and the SEC. Here's the problem. The SEC isn't interested in clarifying what areas of the crypto industry fall under SEC jurisdiction. We know that because FinHub, that you've referred to, the SEC division focused on crafting crypto regulation, has essentially dissolved under Gensler. Nonetheless, while abandoning good faith attempts to clarify how the Commission's existing authority applies to digital assets, the SEC is hell-bent on expanding the size of its crypto enforcement division and using enforcement to unconstitutionally expand its jurisdiction. Under Chair Gensler, the SEC has become a power-hungry regulator, politicizing enforcement, baiting companies to, quote, come in and talk to the Commission, then hitting them with enforcement actions and discouraging good faith cooperation. Understand, sir, there is a new day coming. Thank you. I yield back.
It's easier to go after the small fish than the big fish. But the big fish operating the major exchanges did many, many tens of thousands of transactions with XRP You know it's a security. That means they were illegally operating a securities exchange. They know it's illegal because they stopped doing it, even though it was profitable. So if they know it's illegal, and you know it's illegal, and I know it's illegal, I hope you focus on that. And then finally, we have Tether, which is broke a money market mutual fund in every way. It broke the buck. Can you, I realize you're reluctant to talk about individual matters, but can you tell us why you went after Terra, but not Tether?
Again, it would be inappropriate for me to comment on who we're going after or not going after, but I understand your concerns, and we've added resources to our crypto assets unit to look at issues that put investors at risk, including the issues you've raised in your questions.
Add fortitude and courage as well. You're going to have to take on some cases that you're not certain of winning.
Chairman. The flurry of activity is evidence that the rapidly evolving enforcement and regulatory landscape at the SEC is an indicator of things to come. I don't think it's going to slow up. In the past, increased enforcement activity at the Commission has signaled that they will act aggressively, pressing the boundaries of their enforcement authority. So of note, it looked no further than the SEC's announcement this past May to nearly double its crypto enforcement unit. While the Commission does not intend to provide any clarity surrounding the application of securities laws to digital assets, the unit plans to focus on violations related to crypto asset offerings. So crypto asset exchanges, crypto asset lending and staking products, decentralized finance platforms, non-fungible tokens, stable coins, et cetera, et cetera. So it's worth mentioning that of the 63 items included in the agency's rulemaking agenda this past spring, exactly 0 pertain to digital assets. In addition to the division's proactive enforcement efforts, your words, not mine, the SEC continues to use its own administrative law judges to adjudicate enforcement actions, a controversial decision that has been used increasingly over the past decade. In a recent court decision, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals noted that Congress has unconstitutionally delegated legislative power to the SEC when it allowed the Commission to decide when to use these ALJs. And coupled with the SEC's own admission earlier this year that there was a control deficiency related to the separation of the SEC's enforcement and adjudicatory functions with serious ramifications regarding the fairness of prior SEC enforcement actions for the party subject to those actions. So finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the one person who is not here this morning, the chair of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Chair Gensler. But I know he is paying attention. So, Chair Gensler, while I appreciate you allowing the Director Graywall to come in before the subcommittee, I can't help but mention your absence and request your attendance.
There have been a number of comments of our colleagues about the need for definition. No definition is more important than to define security, since that's what the SEC does. Congress really hasn't acted. Courts have acted with the Howey test, which was not focused on digital assets since it was written in the 1940s. But the fact remains XRP, I think, clearly is a security, and we need enforcement not only on those who issued the unregistered security, but those who provided in exchange for it. Likewise, it would be good to have a definition of ESG, but right now,
just that little smirk or smile that he has as he says it, as if like those are truly his thoughts and words, it's sickening. Shout out to Crypto Eddie. Make sure you come down here and you subscribe. I'm subscribed to her on multiple accounts, but make sure you subscribe to Crypto Eddie. She's almost at 100,000. She put up this great little compilation of the information that was brought about, but it's crazy, and that's kind of what Stuart Alderati and them were talking about here. Is just kind of how can you just kind of put this blanket statement out there? Stuff like that really can affect the market. Obviously, we see some positive price action in regards of what's going on with XRP, but it's like stuff like that can get people to truly sell off, and it can be devastating. I mean, we've seen it, but I mean, we've seen a little bit of rally. I mean, people are probably just really starting to read through the BS and be like, the fact that these people are going through, trying so hard to make this out to be something so bad. maybe we should be thinking the opposite. You know, obviously us in the XRP community, we have, you know, other thoughts and other reasons why we find XRP and Ripple so valuable. Obviously, you know, just due to our education with the technology, the utility, and the company and the people behind it, and all those good things. But it's like people are starting to see the writing on the wall, man. And it's interesting that, you know, this gentleman right here really came out and said that. And a digital asset investor was putting out a couple of tweets, and he was talking about we need to vote him out and check his donor list. And obviously, those are somebody else's words. You know, he was in a sense forced or set to say those things. So who knows? But it's quite interesting. That's kind of the update. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel and subscribe. Follow us at Crypto's Key 1 on Twitter. We're really excited to continue to bring you content and grow this community. With all that being said, stay strong out there. Be safe.